Welcome to Shelach tonight on Torahs for Everyone. Miriam Birnbaum, welcome. Jerry Lipstein. I should put Dr. Jerry Lipstein there. You worked hard to become a doctor. Just because you retired doesn't take it away. You're still a doctor. Sometimes I still wish you were doing what you were doing because I would come to you. I would be your patient. And Baruch Benjamin Schulman, good evening.
Good evening.
So welcome to Torah is for Everyone. And this week, I really enjoyed this portion because if I had had my bat mitzvah, this would be my portion, Shelach. And let's just read it because there's so much in it. I don't want to waste one moment of our time. I just want us to begin. So, Jerry, would you like to begin reading?
Just let me put on the light here so I can see a little bit better.
Okay.
And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may spy out the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a prince among them.
So before we
And
go
Moses
on,
sent them.
hold on, Jerry. I want you to notice something here, because as we go, I'm going to interrupt so that we can get the most out of this portion. So Moses is obeying what God told him, and he's sending, it says, everyone a prince. So these are the leaders of every tribe. We know we have 12 tribes, and these are the heads, or a prince. There may have been several princes, I don't know, but these are very prominent figures who are going to be sent. The word spy is maybe not be the best word. It's like reconnoiter. Take a look at the land. And continue now.
And Moses, are we on 3 or 2?
3.
3. And Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran, according to the commandment of the Lord, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel.
Let me
And these were their.
Let me read the next several verses because they're just basically names. But I want you to notice that we start off with the tribe of Reuben. These were the names of the tribe of Reuben. Reuben is the first son of Jacob from Leah. The second, so we have the from the tribe of Reuben, they were represented by Shemua, the son of Zakur. Then the second son was Shimon, and that's Shaphat, the son of Hori. The third tribe would have been Levi, but Levi's not here because they were separated, they were taken out to be a special tribe who would lead them in the spiritual battle. The fourth one next, also the son of Leah, is Yehudah, Judah. And this is what's known as the tribe of tribes. In all the Judaisms that are around, they say that we know that King David came from the tribe of Judah. We know, those of us who have studied the teachings of Rabbi Yeshua, he was born from the tribe of Judah. And the head of the tribe of Judah is Caleb, the son of Yefuneh. Here it doesn't say that he's a Kenizzite, but in other portions it says he's a Kenizzite. So he wasn't a native-born Israelite. He was a Ger, a Gentile, who had been added, who had come, were the heir of Rav among the people. And look how special he was, because he was made to be a prince of the tribe of Judah. And interestingly enough, Caleb in Hebrew means dog. No Israelite would have named their son Caleb, dog. But it also means from the heart. Of the tribe of Issachar, Yigal, the son of Yosef. The tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, the son of Nun. Now we know him as Joshua. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, the son of Raphu. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Sodi. Of the tribe of Joseph, Now here, remember, Joseph was divided between Ephraim and Manasseh, Gadi the son, and they're divided up now northwest, east, and south. The first three were on these first three that we saw last time, Reuben, Simeon, and Judah, were on the east. Then you have the others that'll be on the south. Zebulun and the others will be on the west, and then we end up with Asher to the north, Naphtali, and Gad. The Setur, Nachbi, and Geuel represented those tribes. Just to make that quick. Okay, Jerry, continue, please.
These are the names of the men that Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hosea, the son of Nun, Joshua. And
Okay,
Moses
hold on.
sent,
Let me just stop here. So we know that those were the names. Now Moses took Hoshea, which we saw before here. Where was he? Here, of the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea the son of Nun. He took Hoshea, added the Yud to his name. See, his name was Le Hoshea Ben Nun. He added a Yud. So he has the Yud Hey next to him, in front of his name. So his name was changed from Hoshea to Yehoshua. The Yud Hey represents that God is with him. God would now play a large role in this young man's life. All right, let's continue.
and Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up here into the south, and go up into the mountains, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they are strong or weak, whether they are few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it is good or bad, and what cities there they are that they dwell in, whether in camps or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it is fat or lean, whether there is wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes.
Okay, let me interrupt here. So we see that Moses gave them very specific instructions. Take a look at the land. What is it like? Are the people, tell me about the people who are there. Are they strong? Are they weak? How many are there? A lot? A few? What's the land like? It's a good land. Is it good soil? Is it bad? Is it good for growing crops? What kind of cities are there? Where do people live? Are they in camps? Do they live in tents? Or are they in strongholds, like where you have walls around the cities? What's the land like? Is it rich? Is it poor? Is there wood there? And he had very specific questions that he wanted answered. That's all he asked these men. And then he said something very important. Be of good courage and bring the fruit of the land. Now, what struck me about that sentence was that he's telling them to be of good courage. In other words, they had a choice. They could choose to be of good courage in the same way that they could choose to bring back the fruit of the land. They didn't, but we're going to watch what happened to them. Okay, continue.
So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob at the entrance of Hamath. And they went up into the south and came unto Hebron and Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai. The children of Anak were there. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the valley of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bore it upon a pole between two. They took also of the pomegranates and of the figs. That place was called the valley of Eshcol, because of the cluster which the children of Israel cut down from thence.
Can you imagine how huge those grapes must have been? If it took 2 men to bear one branch on a pole, it must have been incredible. Okay.
And they returned from spying out the land at the end of 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land.
Notice
And
it says here, just notice, they came to Moses, to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel. And it says again, they brought back word to them, to all the congregation. Moses had asked them to report to him, but he didn't. They didn't. They came to the whole congregation, means in front of all the people. And this is what they said.
And they told him and said, we came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Howbeit the people that dwell in the land are fierce, and the cities are fortified and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. Amalek dwelt in the land of the south, and the Hittite, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite dwelt in the mountains, and the Canaanite dwelleth by the sea, and along by the sea of the Jordan.
Okay, hold on. So we see they came back and they agreed. Yes, it is milk and honey, and here is the fruit. They brought the fruit. But look how they reported it. The people are fierce. The cities are fortified. They're great. Now, the children of Anak were known to be very tall, like giants. Like if we went to Africa today and we saw the Maasai warriors, huge warriors. And Amalek, who was Amalek? The first enemy when they left the land of Egypt, and they were traveling along, Amalek attacked them from the rear and killed the women, the children, the elderly, the sick. And they are enemies, and they were afraid of these people. So that's why that's what they saw. Okay, continue.
And Caleb stilled the people toward Moses and said, we should go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
So look at the two opinions. Caleb saw exactly what they saw. Joshua saw exactly what those other 10 men saw. But Caleb said, we can do it. Let's go forward. We can possess it. Here, this Gentile, the Ger, he had a stronger faith than all the other men who were native-born Israelites. And what did they say? We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. They just saw how God had rescued them from Egypt, how he had rescued them time and time again. And look what it says here. Continue in 32, Jerry.
And they spread an evil report of the land which they had spied out unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have passed to spy it out is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come of the Nephilim, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and we were in their sight, and so we were in their sight.
So they're not only describing what they think they saw, but now he's describing what he thinks they saw, that they will be able to wipe them out easily. They completely forgot that their God is with them, even though they had seen it over and over. Look at where they go. The land eats up the inhabitants. The people are too big. This has been a constant problem, is that we think we have to do things on our own and we forget that God is with us. And all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. Let me just go back for 1 second because I want to show you at the very end here that it says, the men spread an evil report of the land. And that was the main problem. They did not go and sit and talk to Moses with Caleb and Joshua and get others' opinions, but they riled everybody up until to the point that it says, and all the children of Israel, Bnei Israel, murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the entire congregation said to them, oh, where have we heard this before? Would that we have died in the land of Egypt. Or would we have died in this wilderness? I mean, this is an old story. Always complaining. And why did the Lord bring us to the land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will be a prey. And they're saying that because that's exactly what happened when Amalek attacked them when we first left Egypt. But they had 2 years in the desert watching what God had done. Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt? And they said to one another, let's make a captain and let's return into Egypt. Exactly what they said before. Let's make us a god to return to Egypt. And Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the whole assembly, Kahal Israel, here, Kol Kahal Adat Bnei Israel, the whole assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Yehoshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Yefuneh, who were of them, the ones who scouted out the land, reconnoitered the land, they tore their clothes. And they spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to spy out, to reconnoiter, which we saw, is an exceedingly good land. And if the Lord delights in us, he will bring us into this land and give it to us. See, they weren't saying they would do it. He knew that all we need to do is be faithful. The Lord will delight in us, and he will give us what we need. He will give it to us, a land that flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord. Don't fear the people of the land, for they're nothing. They're like bread. We'll eat them up. Their defense is removed from them. They had the cloud by day and the fire by night. They had God with them who dwelt and walked with them. He says, and the Lord is with us. Don't be afraid of them. But instead, what do? The whole congregation said, let's stone them with stones. When the glory of the Lord, at that moment, the kavod Adonai, the glory of the Lord appeared in the Ochel Moed to all the children of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people despise me? And how long will they not believe in me? For all the signs that I have made among them, after everything that I've done, and they still despise me. I will smite them with the pestilence and destroy them, and make from you a nation greater and mightier than they. And Moses said to the Lord, but when the Egyptians hear of it, that you brought this people up from among them with your might, with your power, they will say to the inhabitants of this land, who have heard that you, Lord, are in the midst of this people. Imagine, the inhabitants of this land have heard that the Lord was in their midst, inasmuch as you, Lord, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands over them, and you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you, oh, excuse me, genosinov and emes.
Bless you, bless you.
Yes, that's my mother would say, genosinov and emes, speak on the truth, sneeze on the truth. And this is the truth. But if you kill this people now, as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of you will say, because the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land which he swore to them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness. Now Moses is saying, I beg you, let the power of the Lord be great according to what you have spoken. He's reminding him of his own character. The Lord is slow to anger and full of loving kindness. He forgives our sin and our transgression, and that will by no means clear the guilty. He visits the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation. I beg you, the iniquity of this people, according to he's reminding them, according to your loving kindness, according to what you have forgiven this people from Egypt till now. Now, I don't know if you remember, but up to this point, Moses kept saying, these are your people. I'm tired of them. I don't want to have anything to do with them. These are your people. And now Moses is begging God. He's starting to appropriate them as his own people and reminding what God promised that he would do. And the Lord said, I have pardoned them according to your word. But as I live, and all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Can you imagine? This is a promise to us for the future. The whole world shall be filled with the kavod, the glory of God. Surely all those men who have seen my glory and my signs, which I have brought in Egypt and in the wilderness, yet they've tested me these 10 times. They have not listened to my voice. They shall not see the land which I swore to their fathers. Neither shall any of them who despised me, none of them shall see them, except for my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him and has followed me fully. Him I will bring into the land into which he will go. He went, and his seed, his generations, shall possess it. Now these children from the tribe of Judah, led by this servant Caleb, who was not a Jew, a natural-born Israelite, God put another spirit in him, the same spirit that Ruth had, also a Ger. Now the Amalekite and the Canaanite dwell in the valley. Tomorrow turn and go into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Jerry, you want to continue?
And the Lord spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation that keep murmuring against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they keep murmuring against me. Say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord, surely as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, ye that have murmured against me. Surely ye shall not come into the land, concerning which I lifted up my hand, that I would make you dwell therein, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun.
Now, when I read this, how long shall I
Nun.
bear with this evil congregation who keep murmuring against me? You know, there are principles that we can draw from the Torah. And one of them is that God is the same God yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He doesn't change his character. His principles remain the same, even though the times are different. And if we as a people keep complaining and keep murmuring and keep blaming him for the things that happen to us, instead of understanding that we are the ones who are disobedient, there are consequences for that. Go ahead.
What number are we on?
31.
But your little ones that ye said would be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have rejected. But as for you, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall be wanderers in the wilderness 40 years, and shall bear your strayings until your carcasses be consumed in the wilderness. After the number of days in which ye spied out the land, even 40 days, for every day a year shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my displeasure.
This is where we get sorry, Jerry. This is where we get the idea that 40 years makes up a generation. And none of them would go into the land, and they will bear their guilt that whole time. They'll remember.
I, the Lord, have spoken. Surely this will I do unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, and who were, when they returned, made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up an evil report against the land. Even those men that did not bring up an evil report of the land died by the plague before the Lord.
Which shows us, look, it says the men whom Moses sent out to spy the land, who when they returned made the congregation murmur. They made the whole congregation. That's like the ninth commandment, the 10th commandment. Don't spread all this gossip, the 9th commandment, by bringing an evil report against the land. And those men, even the men who did not bring up an evil report of the land, died in the plague before the Lord. So we see
Peggy, sorry, where does it say even those men that did bring up an evil report? Doesn't says did not.
Oh, sorry. Even those men that did bring up an evil report in the land. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No. But
I was reading something
it's
wrong.
amazing that when it says they made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up an evil report. So it's not even that they're really, it's an objective observation. It's that they're putting in their own fears and doubts, and it doesn't mean that they really saw that it was impossible. You know, it says made all the congregation murmur against him by bringing up an evil report.
Exactly.
Not by saying it's like not really even a totally objective thing. Like
it's
the
totally
land,
subjective.
Totally, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Yefunah, remained alive of those men that went to spy out the land. And Moses,
imagine how they felt being the only two to be like, you know, the only ones who lived of those who went into the land to
exactly. It was just the children of the other people who lived.
Right.
They weren't alone, but these would be the new leaders. Joshua would be the one who was chosen to replace Moses. Yeah, these were the only ones. It's shocking. Not even Moses, not even Aaron, and not even Miriam went into the land.
Yeah.
And Moses told these words unto the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and got them up to the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we are here, and will go up unto the place which the Lord had promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, wherefore now do we transgress the commandment of the Lord, seeing it shall not prosper? Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye be not smitten down before your enemies. For there the Amalekite and the Canaanite are before you, and ye shall fall by the sword, for as much as ye are turned back from following the Lord, and the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the top of the mountain. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekite and the Canaanite who dwelt in that hill country came down and smote them and beat them down even unto Hormah.
So we see here that even though they admitted that they sinned, okay, lo, we are here, and we will go up to the place which the Lord has promised, for we have sinned. They admitted that they sinned, but they're still being disobedient. He says, you will not go into the land. You're going to die in the desert. But they didn't listen. Moses says, why are you transgressing the commandment of the Lord? Don't think that you can go and take the land on your own. You will not prosper. You will not be able to do it. He says, don't go up. The Lord is not with you. You will be smitten down by your enemies.
I wonder if in modern times, God is the same yesterday and today. If we don't have the same, if things happen like that, but let's even to those who are totally disobedient, but they don't see it, they don't may necessarily attribute that to God, but it is God, because God works in everybody's life.
Exactly.
So they're not seeing it, but it is a lot. It is God.
Exactly. And the Ark of the Covenant didn't leave the camp. Moses didn't leave the camp. You would think that they would have clued in, but they went ahead and they were beaten down. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land of your habitations, which I'm going to give you, God is going to give us the land. He says it clearly. You will make an offering, an olah, by fire to the Lord, and in fulfillment of a vow clearly uttered, or as a free will offering, or in your appointed seasons, whenever you're going to do it, because all these things were valid offerings, to make a sweet savor to the Lord of the herd of the flock. You shall bring his offering to the Lord, a meal offering, a 10th part of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with a 4th part of a hin of oil. It looks like they're going to make bread. That's how it seems to be. Meal and flour and oil. Let me just make sure here. I think we're going to end it in this chapter. Okay. And wine for drink. The 4th part of a hin you shall prepare with the burnt offering for the sacrifice for each lamb. For a ram you shall prepare for a meal offering 2/10 of an ephah. And he's going through the sacrifices, the offerings here, according to the number. Now this is very interesting here. According to the number that you may prepare, so shall you do for everyone according to their number. Just to remember at Pesach, they had to take exactly the amount for each household. Here is the same. Then all who are homeborn, native Israelites from Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, shall do these things according to the manner, in presenting the offering by fire of a sweet savor to the Lord. Now here, and if the ger, the ki yigur, itchem ger, if the ger who is living with you, or whoever may be among you, whatever servants who are with you, all the Arab Rab, those who have left Egypt with you throughout your generations, if they make an offering by fire unto the Lord, as you do, so shall he do. Ken Yaseh, exactly the same. As for the congregation, there shall be one chukah, one statute, both for you and for the stranger who's living without you, a statute forever throughout your generations. As you do, so shall the stranger, as you are, so
We should have read it to the rabbi we saw in the park.
I know. I'm going to write this to him. I'm going to ask him.
Yeah,
As you are, he gave me his email, remember?
right.
So shall the stranger be before the Lord. Look at this. Torah achat, one Torah. V'mishpat echad, one ordinance shall be both for you and for the ger who lives with you. Any doubts? Can you misinterpret this? You could refuse to believe it,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's in
it's
black
pretty
and
clear.
white. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, yes, that's how we got into that conversation this past Sunday with the man who believes that there are 7 Noahide laws for the stranger, for the ger. Well, that may be for those who have no interest in being part of Israel, maybe for them, but not for the stranger among us, those who join us. That may be what that rabbi would say. Speak unto the children of Israel.
Sorry, Peggy, I don't understand what you mean by that.
Well, there's 2 types of alien, 2 types of strangers. And it's a different word. Remember, we read.
Oh, right. Okay, they're just living but they're not really part
Yeah,
of the.
they don't want to be part of us.
But I don't even think it applies to them. I don't think
No,
because
but the 7 Noahide laws doesn't apply to anybody. It's
that's what I'm
made up.
saying. No, you were just starting to say maybe it applies to them. I don't think it applies
No,
to
maybe
anybody.
that's what they would say applies to them.
But that didn't seem to be what he was saying.
No, it doesn't. They put themselves as Jews, us as Jews, on a pedestal, and they say, this is for us, the Torah, and the rest, those who are with us, well, they can do the 7 Noahide laws. That's not what the Torah says.
No.
Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land where I'm going to bring you, then it shall be when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall set apart a portion as a gift to the Lord. This is where we get the idea. Here it says, terumah, terumah. We were to always to set apart part of whatever we reap from the land. It's the same today. What are the principles? You go to work, you make a salary, you set apart a portion. That's where charity comes in. That's why we've been able to build synagogues, hospitals, take care of the poor, because of this portion that we give. This is how our congregation is here, because of the portion that we give. Of the first of your dough, you shall set apart a cake as a gift. As that which is set apart of the threshing floor, so shall it be set apart. Of the first of your dough, you shall give a portion to the Lord as a gift throughout your generations. And when you fail, when you make a mistake, when you err, and you do not observe all these commandments, so he's saying it's not on purpose. When you make a mistake, when you err, which the Lord has spoken to Moses, and what are the commandments? One of the 10 commandments. This is all we had up to this point. Even all that the Lord has commanded you by the hand of Moses, from the day that the Lord gave him the commandments, and onward throughout your generations. So those commandments would follow us throughout our generations. It shall be, if it be done in error by the congregation, shall now, not only is it one person, but if the whole congregation should be in error, it means it wasn't on purpose. it being hid from their eyes, all the congregation shall offer one young bullock as a sin offering, as a sweet offering. So they may not even know that they sinned as a congregation, but they're still told to bring a young bull as a sin offering, an olah, a burnt offering, to be a sweet savor. And what was a sweet savor? Not that the bull was being killed or that blood was being shed. What was the intention of our heart going to him, acknowledging that we might have done these things? That was a sweet savor to him. With the meal offering thereof and the drink offering thereof, according to the ordinance, and 1 he-goat for a sin offering. And the Kohen shall make a covering. Here, it doesn't say atonement, it says ye kaper. Ye kaper ha-Kohen. The Kohen shall make a covering. I got it covered. For all the Kahal Israel, the Adat Israel. And they shall be forgiven, for it was an error. There were no sacrifices for intentional sin. That would bring on consequences that would more often than not lead to death. And they have brought their offering, an offering made by fire to the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord for their error. God knows that we will fail time and again and may not even recognize it in the moment.
But this is like so colossal, the idea that it's not for intentional sin.
Yes.
Whole religions are based on intentional sin.
Because they threw out the Torah.
Yeah.
It's the only way they could propagate their doctrines and their dogmas. And all the congregation of the children of Israel shall be forgiven, and the stranger who lives among them. For in respect of all the people it was done in error, Gentile and Jew. There were no Jews yet, that was later after Yehudah, but native-born Israelites and the Ger, the Erev Rav, who are among us. And if one person sins through error, again, he shall offer a female goat for the first year for the sin offering. And the Kohen will say, I got you covered for the soul who errs. When he sins through error, how many times does it have to be repeated? Through error, before the Lord, as a covering for him, he shall be forgiven. Both he, the native born among the children of Israel, and the stranger who lives among them. You shall have one Torah, Torah achat, for him who does anything in error. But the soul who does anything with a high hand, meaning with pride, whether he be homeborn or a native, if he blasphemes the Lord, that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment, God's commandment. That soul shall be karet, cut off, karet, and his iniquity shall be upon him. Nowhere does it say that anybody can die for his sin. His iniquity shall be upon him. This is why they have to throw out the Torah, because you can't propagate a new religion if this is what God is saying. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. Remember, which of the 10 Commandments was the Shabbat? Number 4.
Yeah.
And they who found him gathering sticks. Now, obviously, this was on purpose. They gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and to the whole congregation. And they put him in a ward. They put him kind of like in jail, because they hadn't decided what would be done to him. And the Lord, so Moses went to seek God. And the Lord said to Moses, the man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. Now this seems really, really harsh for anybody in this modern day and age reading this thing. What kind of a God is this? But remember, this was at the very beginning of the inauguration of our people, of forming a nation who would be obedient to the Ten Commandments. But he was setting down a principle here. He said, because he despised the word of the Lord. When we turn our back on God and refuse to obey him and break his commandments on purpose, with pride, with a high hand, whether he be homeborn or a stranger, that will lead to death. In this case, they were stoned. Today, in our modern times, obviously they're not going to be stoned, but it'll ultimately lead to their death in other ways. And God will be the one who allows that to happen. They maybe get very sick. They may be hit by a car. Who knows? But there are consequences for our attitude, our stubborn pride. And the Lord, you want to continue, Jer, here?
Oh, no, go ahead. You're almost finished, no?
Yeah, another few verses. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and tell them to make throughout their generations fringes on the corners of their garments. These are what we call here tzitzit, the tzitzit. And they put at the fringe of each corner a thread of blue. Now, most tzitzit that you will see today are white. They don't put the blue. They say, well, the blue isn't kosher enough that they have, or whatever their reasons are. They do not put the blue. And God is continuously telling us, do not add or take away from my word. And it shall be to you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord. So when the men, these were for the men to put the fringes on the corners of their garments. They probably wore some kind of a cloak. I don't think they walked around with them, what we call the talit. Now they wore a robe, and they would attach the fringes on the corner of their garments for them always to remember the commandments of the Lord. That was the purpose. But not only remember them, to do them, that you go not about after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go astray, so that you may remember and do all my commandments and be kadosh, set apart for God. And he's reminding us again who he is. This is commandment number 1. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. Very, 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 very powerful when we read it. And we're constantly doing things our own way. Miriam, you want to come back?
Yeah.
So what were your feelings, your thoughts as you were reading this?
When I first saw that about the man who was stoned, it does seem extremely, extremely harsh, but it follows right on that, as you just said, that passage of such showing such arrogance. This wasn't, his heart was arrogant, and we don't even know if he was flaunting it, there was something that he was doing that was really
Well, you know, it was very similar to the story that we're going to read later with Pinchas. Remember the story of Pinchas, when it was very clear that they were told not to marry the Midianite women. And a prince of Midian, no, a princess of Midian, this from the tribe, what was his name? From the, I can't remember right now. But
Zur or something.
Salu.
Rewind, rewind
Sorry,
your,
who? Brian?
rewind your memory to get
I'm
the,
gonna rewind my memory. I have to go back in my mind. I have so many thoughts now. It's harder to find that one. But Cosby,
Cosby, yeah.
he was a prince of one of the tribes, and he was a Hebrew, and he knew what he was not supposed to do. And the Midianites were always these. They would send their women to tempt the Israelite men because they were so beautiful. And you see that in many of the Middle Eastern women, they're gorgeous. And they tempted them and brought them to their gods. It wasn't so much that they were just any women, but their idea was to tempt them to bring them away from the God of Israel and bring them back to foreign gods. And what did they do? They flaunted what they did right in front of the whole congregation, in front of everybody. And that's when and nobody said a word, not even Moses, not a word. He was at this time done. He was spent with our people. He had had enough. And Pinchas took the sword and pierced him through. And sometimes the sacrifices that we have to make to stand up for God are great. And that's what God is showing us here. Do not allow people of pride to pull down the whole congregation. Do not allow people who are bent on remaining in fear, because I understand that fear is natural. God gave us the fight and flight response. It's okay to fear. But if we live in fear, if we stay in fear, and we don't reason with it and ask God to help us with our fear, because Joshua said, be of good courage, which means that we had a choice. We could choose to be of good courage. If we had no choice, he wouldn't have asked us to do that. And the reason that we could be of good courage is because we knew that we had a God who was with us, that we weren't going alone. The people today who lose hope, who have difficulty continuing on and live in fear, and there's so many of them today. So many people live in fear and high anxiety, to the point that there are all kinds of medications and pills, because they've lost the hope of God. There is no God in their lives. They are walking alone without knowing that God is with them. No?
No?
Jerry's nodding in agreement.
You know, I sometimes found it's good to read the Hebrew when you have a name of a city or something, because the Hebrew is very, very clear with the dots and everything.
Yes.
You can actually pronounce it exactly more. It's easier.
Exactly. Especially when they translate it, like there are no J's in Hebrew. There's no Joshua. It's Hosea and Yehoshua. You know, I don't know why they translate it.
Yeah, and I said with Joshua, the son of Nun, and it's very clear in the Hebrew that's Nun.
It's Nun, exactly.
It's very, very clear. You know,
Yeah.
in English you would say Nun, which I said the first time, and then I glanced over, saw the Hebrew, and it said Nun. So it's
Nun.
yeah.
And it's Yefune. And I mentioned that.
That's exactly right. I saw that word too, Yefuna. So
Exactly.
I got it. So
And I spoke to an Orthodox man this past weekend about Kalev being a Kenizzite, being from his father was Yefuneh, that he wasn't a Jew. But then they make up these stories that his mother was Miriam or whatever, that she was Jewish, and so you're through the mothers, you're Jewish. But at this point, our heritage came through the father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Only later was it added Ruth, Leah, Rachel, um, Sarah, and Rivka. Not in the Torah. It's through the men. Men. Someone said to me that I would make a good rabbi, and I said I don't believe in female rabbis. You don't see that anywhere in the Torah. And it's not that I can't teach or that I can't study the Torah or do any of the things that a rabbi would do, but the rabbi has taken on the position of being the spiritual head of the community, of the congregation. And in the Torah, the spiritual head was always the male. It's a role, it's a position. It has nothing to do with value or with ability. It has to do with the role that God gave man after the failure, the error of Adam and Eve. They failed. Their problem was that they didn't ask God to forgive them. They just kept hiding and making excuses. So, and the curse that was placed upon us, upon man, was that he would, upon the women, was that women who were at that point the highest of creation, the last of God's creation, the next closest to God, even than the male, we would be under the man. And Adam, because he failed, he then had to take responsibility for the woman, for the spiritual covering, to be the spiritual covering for women.
I have a question for you.
Household. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Here's a question.
Okay.
Men are, that's the question. And here's the other part. Men are and women are the strengths of Israel. Men are question, women are the strengths of Israel.
Okay. You want to know what I think are the question? Who men
Well,
are?
women are the strengths of Israel.
Well, I look at women being the backbone. If I look at the home, the woman is the backbone, but the man needs to be the spiritual head. You're wearing a kippah. You say, by wearing that kippah, it is saying to me that you come under God's protection. The woman in your home come under your protection, your spiritual covering, your kavanah, your kippurah, your kippur. You need to cover them before God, and that's your responsibility. If you don't bring into your home the commandment, God's commandments, you need to answer to God for that.
What about single women?
The single women who are part of a community come under the head of the community. Like my covering was our rabbi. Now I come under the covering of the other men in the congregation. So that I know that it's not that I'm not leading a leader in the community or I'm not teaching, but I don't come under, I'm not above them spiritually. The only women in the Torah who were goddesses were pagan. There were no rabbis. There were judges. Deborah was a judge. I could be considered a judge in certain moments. People could come to me for counsel. But I will, if I have a question that I can't answer, I will refer to some of the men in the congregation, and together we'll discuss it. Yes, Brian?
What about Esther? She got married to that so-called king of the.
Yeah, she had no choice.
But
And she
her
was
children-
used, and God used her to save all our people.
Yeah, but also, if she had any children, they're not Jewish because of their husband.
That's very true. We don't know if Esther had any children. It doesn't say. But we do know that God raised her up for such a time as this. And women are very important. We are to be the helpmate of man. Men are our stabilizing force. In a healthy society where men rule with justice and under God, we have a very healthy community. But today, the roles have been reversed. You see women usurping the role of men, not realizing, as our rabbi would say, that they would be lowering themselves by trying to be like men. Because women have been given something extra, an instinct, a sixth sense. We are able to create, our bodies create a human being within us. And we have a sense of nurturing that most men don't have. There are some, of course, who do. But there are characteristics that a woman has been given that the man does not have. And there are characteristics that the man has been given that the woman doesn't have. And that's by God. That's a design. And today we see the whole world rebelling against the order that God gave us, which is why we see so much chaos all over the world in this woke society. And I don't know what's going to change that. God is going to have to do it because we don't have the power in ourselves to do it. Does that answer your question, Jerry? Good. Well, are there any other comments? If not, then I will bid you adieu. Jerry, are you ready to
Yeah, we're ready.
to do the Yivarechacha?
Yes. Our God, the God of our fathers, bless us with the threefold blessing.
Uh-oh, you're stuck, Jer. Uh-oh. I hope he comes back. Jerry?
How does that happen?
Jerry, can you hear?
Pardon?
You were stuck.
You were completely stuck. We couldn't hear you. There's something with your Wi-Fi where you are now.
Do you hear me now? Okay.
Now I can hear you. So start again, please.
Yes, I must start again because this this passage is supposed to. It's supposed to say without error. So you're right. I don't think we have to say the bracha again. They're not supposed to.
No, you just go right into the right.
But it's supposed to be said without error.
Okay.
Yavrechecho Adonai v'yishmorecho Yoer Adonai Panov Elecho v'chuneko Yiso Adonai Panov Elecho v'yosem lecho Shalom. V'samu et shemi al bnei Israel v'ani avorachem.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his shalom. So shall they put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. We forgive you, Jerry, for your Ashkenazi accent, and may all those who are Sephardim and Israelis who are listening to us forgive us because we're all Ashkenazim in this Zoom. And
if you remind me, I could try to do a little Sephardic. I'll say Baruch instead of Baruch.
Instead of Odonoi, Adonai.
Adonai.
Adonai. Baruch Atah Adonai. Exactly. Yes, Baruch.
This thing when you show us the passage of the Bible reading,
Yes,
how do you get that? How can I
on,
get
on my computer. I'll send you the link.
so that I can watch it too? Because then I can stop it where I'm trying to read it, but you're moving the things
Yes, okay. I will send that to you. No problem.
from this one that we're using now.
Yes, I'll send you the one.
Also, if you click on for Hebrew, then it will read it to me in Hebrew.
Exactly. That would be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was absolutely a delight to be with you tonight. And next week, we're going to look at a big rebel, big time rebel, whose name was Korach.
Yeah, Korah.
Yeah, big problems. And may all the rebels of this world know that they're going to face the judgment of our Almighty God and turn themselves around so we can live in some peace and harmony. Anyway, thank you again so much for your
Thank
input,
you.
for being here. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, Dr. Jerry, Baruch. And God bless you. And I say Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.